So, if you're running a small or medium-sized business here in Utah, the whole conversation around AI can feel, well, a little overwhelming, right? It seems like everyone is talking about it, but it's not always clear what it actually means for you. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and build a really practical guide for taking your first steps with AI.
And this is really the big question, isn't it, for so many of us in business? Is this AI thing a giant wave that's going to swamp everything you've built? Or is it a wave you can actually learn to ride? Let's dive in and find out.
The answer really lies in understanding what we can call Utah's AI paradox. There's this huge gap between the fear of what AI could do and the reality of what it's actually doing to our local economy right now. On one hand, you've got this widespread fear of job displacement, this idea that, algorithms and robots are coming to replace people. But the reality we're seeing on the ground here in Utah, it's pretty much the exact opposite. AI is becoming an engine for creating entirely new roles that demand completely new skills. So what are these new skills and roles exactly? I mean, this isn't some far-off futuristic theory. Nope. It's happening right now, today, across some of Utah's biggest and most important industries. I mean, just look around. This growth is happening everywhere. In the tech world, you've got giants like Adobe and Qualtrics creating this huge demand for data scientists. In healthcare, Intermountain needs specialists who can manage AI-powered diagnostics. And then you look at manufacturing and logistics. The need there is for robotics technicians who can actually operate these new intelligent systems. 14%. Okay, just let that number sink in for a second. It might not seem like a huge number all by itself, but what it represents, well, that's massive. By the year 2030, that's the slice of Utah's workforce that's going to need some pretty significant reskilling. And this is the crucial point. The challenge isn't a threat of job loss. It's the reality of a skills gap. And a gap? Well, a gap is something you can build a bridge over. So how do you build that bridge, especially as a small business with limited resources? The answer is something called the small wins strategy. It's an approach designed to make adopting AI feel totally manageable, not like some monumental, impossible task. This quote really just nails the whole strategy. You don't need to reinvent your entire business overnight. Real success comes from starting with these small, quick projects that show immediate value. So for example, don't try to automate your entire marketing department. Instead, maybe just start by using an AI tool to help draft your weekly customer newsletter. See? That's a small win. And the key to rocking up these small wins is education. The source material calls this hub-level AI education. And it's a really simple idea. Your team is the hub of your business, right? So you equip them not just with the technical skills, but with the ethical know-how and the critical thinking to use these powerful new tools the right way. And this whole approach builds into a really practical plan for any small business. It's a straightforward 5-step playbook you can start putting into action today. Okay, so the playbook is pretty simple. It starts with just assessing your team's current skills to figure out where the gaps are. From there, you develop some targeted training, and you leverage local resources. You don't have to do it all alone. But honestly, the most important part is step 4. Start with a small pilot project to prove the value quickly. And then finally, you foster a culture where learning never, ever stops. Now, to make that playbook even more effective, you can consider these best practices. A great one is using AI assistant tools during the training itself, so your team gets hands-on support while they're learning. And this is crucial. Make sure this stuff is accessible to everyone, not just your tech team, so you can build a shared understanding across the whole company. You see, by adopting this kind of educational strategy, you're not just implementing a new tool. You're actively working to become a future-proof business, one that's ready for whatever comes next. And looking ahead, the demand for ethical AI is only going to get bigger. The days of one-and-done training are completely over. Lifelong learning is the new standard. And ultimately, your team's ability to adapt to new tools as they come out, that's going to become your greatest competitive advantage. So where do you start? Like right now? Here are 3 things you can do the minute this is over. First, evaluate your current training. What do you already have? Second, schedule time for this. Actually put it on the calendar. And third, monitor what works and don't be afraid to adjust. Remember, this is about progress, not perfection. Which brings us right back to the beginning. It all starts with that very first step. So instead of asking, how do we adopt AI, maybe the better question to ask yourself right now is this: what's your team's first small win? Find it, go get it, and then build from there.